My son tried to force me to sign over my house. He grabbed my wrist and snapped, "Do it, or I'll make you regret it." I stared into his eyes and whispered, "I'm not afraid of you." The next morning, he discovered the deed was already in someone else's name. His name's Marcus. He's 34 now. I raised him on my own in Springfield, Missouri. His dad took off when Marcus was just a little kid, and I did everything I could to give him a decent life. I worked nights cleaning classrooms at the high school. I packed his lunches, helped him with his homework, saved every extra dollar for his clothes and school supplies. He never had to go without. Marcus was a smart kid. Too smart for his own good. When he was little, he used to take apart the remote control just to see how it worked. Then he'd put it back together. He was good at math, talked his way out of trouble even when the teachers called home. He was clever. I was proud of him. But that cleverness turned into something else once he got older. He stopped working steady jobs. Started chasing easy money. Crypto, online gambling, flipping junk cars. Every month it was some new scheme. He said I didn't understand that new economy. I told him I understood hard work and responsibility, and that was enough for me. At first, he'd just borrow small amounts. A few hundred here, 1,000 there. He always said he'd pay me back. He never did. But I let it slide. I was his mother. That's what mothers do, right? It changed when he started asking about the house. It started with little comments. "This place is too big for you, Ma. You should think about downsizing. Why don't you let me manage your finances?" That last one set off alarms. I told him I was doing just fine on my own. The house was fully paid off, 35 years working at the high school and never missing a mortgage payment. It was mine. The only thing I owned outright. Then he asked me straight up, "Ma, let's put the house in my name. It'll help me qualify for a business loan. I'll put it back after a few months." I told him no. He asked again a week later. Still no. That's when he stopped being polite. It was a cold Friday evening in March. I had just made tea and was sitting at the kitchen table when I heard his car pull up. He didn't call ahead. He never does. Just walked in like he still lived here. I hate how he does that. He walked in fast, tossed his keys on the counter, and dropped a manila folder on the table in front of me. "What's this?" I asked. "Just sign it. It's everything we talked about. The deed transfer and power of attorney." I pushed the folder back toward him. "I already told you no." He didn't move. "Ma, you're making this harder than it has to be." "It's not hard," I said. I said no. That's it. He stepped around the table. I thought he was going to walk away. Instead, he came up behind me, leaned over, and grabbed my wrist. Not a full yank. But firm. Controlling. His voice dropped low. I'd never heard that tone from him before. "Do it," he said. "Or I'll make you regret it." I didn't pull away. I didn't flinch. I just looked up at him, right into his face. "I'm not afraid of you." He stared at me for a few seconds. Then he let go, grabbed his folder, and stormed out. I sat there for a long time after that, staring at the spot where his hand had been. I wasn't afraid. But I was done. What Marcus didn't know was that I'd already taken steps. 3 weeks before that night, I went to the county clerk's office and transferred the house deed. Not to Marcus. To Jenna, my niece. My sister's girl. She had gone through hell a few years back, but she was sober now, working a steady job, and always checked on me. I trusted her. I had the paperwork notarized. I also got a letter from my doctor confirming I was in good mental health, just in case Marcus tried to pull anything funny. I was ready. The next morning, Marcus came back, bright and early. This time he knocked. Loud. Angry. I opened the door and let him in without saying a word. He looked smug. "I brought the paperwork again," he said. "I figured you'd come to your senses." I poured myself a cup of coffee. "You might want to check with the county clerk before you waste any more time," I said. He froze. "What do you mean?" "I mean the house isn't in my name anymore." He blinked. Smiled like I was joking. "Don't be ridiculous." "I'm not. I transferred the deed 3 weeks ago." "To who?" "To Jenna." That wiped the smile off his face. "You gave my house to Jenna?" "It's not your house. And she's not the one threatening her mother." His hands curled into fists. His jaw clenched. "She's a drunk. She's been sober 2 years. And she's always been good to me." He turned and walked out. Slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. A week later, he showed up again, this time with a lawyer. Some skinny guy in a cheap suit who tried to claim I wasn't mentally sound when I transferred the deed. Too bad I had all my paperwork in order. Doctor's letter. Signed and notarized documents. Witnesses. Everything by the book. Then he tried to scare Jenna into giving it back. She got her own lawyer, someone mean, smart, and expensive. His name was Warren. He used to be a prosecutor. Now he lives to chew guys like Marcus up for breakfast. That's when the rumors started. Marcus told neighbors I was slipping mentally. That I was leaving the stove on. Forgetting where I lived. Said I wasn't safe to live alone. He even tried calling the police on a wellness check. Didn't work. Then one night, I came home from bingo night to find my front door cracked open. Nothing stolen. Just drawers opened. Cabinets pulled out. Stuff dumped everywhere like someone had been searching. There was no forced entry. I knew it was him. But he didn't know I had a camera in the living room window. A ring cam hidden behind the curtain rod. It had been there since the fall, after the last time he raised his voice. I downloaded the footage and emailed it to Warren. The camera footage was clear. Marcus. Walking right into my house with a spare key I didn't even know he still had. He wasn't in a rush. He looked calm. Like he belonged there. He went through the drawers in the kitchen, then the filing cabinet in the hallway. He didn't take anything, not that I could see, but he flipped through papers like he was looking for something specific. Probably the deed. Or maybe my will. I didn't call the police. Not right away. I called Warren, Jenna's lawyer, first. He told me to hold tight and let him handle it. "Let's not play defense anymore," he said. "It's time we go on offense." The next week, Marcus was served with a no-contact order. Warren filed for an emergency protection order based on the footage, plus my written statement, and the medical letter from my doctor. Marcus lost his mind. Started calling from blocked numbers, texting me from fake names. "You really want to make me your enemy?" one text read. "You'll regret siding with that drunk Jenna over your own blood." I blocked every number. I stopped going to my usual grocery store. I even stopped going to church. I felt like I had to look over my shoulder all the time. And the worst part? I still had this tiny sliver of guilt inside me. The mother part. The part that remembered his 3rd grade science fair. His 5th grade piano recital. His first heartbreak. But every time I remembered his fingers tightening around my wrist in my kitchen, that guilt shriveled a little more. Then came the mail. A thick white envelope. No return address. Inside was a copy of a new deed. Marcus had tried to forge a new transfer document, one that claimed I had signed the house over to him a month before I gave it to Jenna. He even faked a notary stamp. It was a sloppy job. The signature wasn't even close to mine. But he had filed it with the county as a challenge. It forced a temporary hold on the official record, meaning Jenna couldn't refinance, and I couldn't make any major repairs without going through hoops. Warren was furious. He filed a motion for fraud, complete with evidence from the ring footage and handwriting expert testimony. But legal stuff moves slow. And in the meantime, Marcus was still stirring the pot. One night around 10 p.m., I got a call from Jenna. She sounded shaken. "I think someone followed me home," she said. "Black Charger. Parked across the street. Just sat there with the engine running. I knew that car. It was Marcus's. I told her to stay inside and call the police. She did. By the time they got there, the car was gone. No plates visible. But we both knew. Marcus wasn't letting this go." A few days later, I got a knock on my door. It was Mrs. Hayward from down the block. She was holding her phone, eyes wide. "Did you know there's a Facebook group with your name in it?" she asked. I didn't use Facebook much, but Jenna looked it up for me. There it was, Save My Mother from Elder Abuse, the truth about Opal M. My full name. Photos of me. A long post from Marcus claiming I was being manipulated by Jenna, accusing her of stealing my property, forging documents, even slipping me drugs to make me seem incompetent. There were hundreds of comments. Mostly from strangers. Some siding with him. Some asking for proof. A few trolls. But a lot of my neighbors had seen it. Some started avoiding me. My mailbox got knocked over the next night. Warren moved fast. He got the Facebook group reported and shut down, and filed a defamation suit against Marcus. Jenna added a restraining order of her own. Then came the letter from Marcus's attorney. He was suing me for elder fraud. I laughed when I read it. But it wasn't funny. Not really. I was 63. I didn't have endless money for legal battles. He was dragging this out because he thought I'd break. Give in. Crawl back and hand him the deed just to make it stop. He didn't understand. I wasn't afraid of court. I was afraid of losing myself. Then something strange happened. Warren called me and said, "We found something. You're not going to believe this." Turns out, Marcus had taken out a private loan months ago, a big one, and listed my house as the collateral, before he ever asked me to sign the deed. He had already told the lender he owned the place. That's why he was desperate. If he didn't come up with the money, they were going to come after my house. He had bet everything on me folding. Now the loan company was involved. They were angry. They realized he had used forged documents to secure the loan. That made it fraud on their end too. They were ready to press charges. That's when the tide started to turn. The loan company sent a letter to my house first. A thick manila envelope with their logo stamped across the top. I opened it sitting at my kitchen table, hands shaking. Inside was a notice of default and a demand for repayment, $312,000. That was the number Marcus had borrowed using my house as security. The loan had defaulted. He hadn't made a payment in over 4 months. The company, a shady private lender based out of Kansas City, had tried to contact him, but he had gone dark. Now they were coming after the asset. My home. The problem was, according to their records, Marcus already owned the house. Which he didn't. Because I never signed it over. Because I had already legally transferred it to Jenna weeks before his fake deed filing. But that didn't matter to them yet. They didn't care about family drama or who lived here the last 30 years. They cared about collateral. That's when it got real. Warren got on the phone with their legal team right away. He sent over every scrap of paperwork. The notarized deed transfer to Jenna, the ring camera footage of Marcus trespassing, the psych eval letter, the forensics report comparing my real signature to the forged one. It bought us some time. But not much. That's when Warren told me something that made my stomach twist. If they can't get their money from Marcus, he said, they may try to force a lien sale just to recover part of the loss. You're protected, but only if we move fast. I couldn't believe it. My own son had put my house, our history, every room, every memory, in the hands of loan sharks. I raised him in that house. I worked double shifts to make the payments. He learned to ride a bike in that driveway. And he sold it off like a poker chip. Jenna got scared. She offered to transfer the house back to me, not to give in, but to simplify things legally. I said no. She'd done nothing wrong. Marcus wasn't going to win by dragging her into a panic. We decided to fight. Harder. Warren started digging deeper into Marcus's finances. What he found shocked even him. Marcus wasn't just in debt, he was drowning. He owed more than $180,000 in back taxes. He had multiple credit cards in collections. He defaulted on 2 auto loans. One of his businesses, a failed dropshipping scam, had been hit with a lawsuit for selling fake electronics. And worse? He had listed me as a business partner on one of the fake LLCs he created 2 years earlier. I didn't even know it existed. He'd used my name, address, and even my social security number, probably from old tax documents he found in my files. That opened a whole other door. Identity theft. Warren told me we had enough to file criminal charges. I'm ready, I said. But not before one more twist. A week later, I got a phone call from Marcus's ex-girlfriend, Tiffany. I hadn't spoken to her in years. She and Marcus dated for maybe a year and a half, back when he was in his late 20s. She was kind. Too kind for him. She left him after he borrowed $5,000 and never paid it back. I saw what he's doing to you online, she said. I have something you should know. I met her the next day at a diner on the edge of town. She brought a small red USB drive and a printout of some messages Marcus had sent her. They were recent. I thought you should have this, she said. On that drive were screenshots, videos, audio clips. Marcus had been recording conversations, mine, Jenna's, even neighbors, trying to piece together something he could use in court or on social media to make me look unstable. But he screwed up. One video clip, labeled Opal_Kitchen_2, had him clearly on camera mocking me to someone off screen. I don't care if she cries. I'll get that house even if I have to make her think she's going crazy. He laughs at the end. That was it. That was the last straw. We sent it all to Warren. The forged deed, the fake LLCs, the identity theft, the audio recordings, the loan fraud. We gave him everything. The case was bigger now. It wasn't just about a house. It was about what Marcus had become. He wasn't just entitled. He wasn't just greedy. He was dangerous. The day Marcus got arrested, I was sitting at the window with a cup of tea, same spot I always sat to watch the birds. I didn't know it was happening at first. Just saw the black Charger pull into the driveway across the street, the one he used when he came to stalk us. But this time, 2 unmarked police cars came right behind him. No sirens. Just lights. They boxed him in before he could pull away. He stepped out cocky. I saw him smile. Probably thought it was a traffic stop. Then the officer pulled the cuffs out. His smile dropped. They read him the charges loud enough I could hear it through my window: identity theft, forgery, mortgage fraud, wire fraud, harassment, trespassing, filing a false deed, defamation, attempted elder financial abuse. I counted them like prayer beads in my head. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I just exhaled. Finally. The case went to court 4 months later. Warren didn't just push for criminal charges. He also filed a civil suit. Marcus's ex, Tiffany, agreed to testify. So did Jenna. So did I. The ring footage, the forged documents, the audio files, it all came together. The judge wasn't amused. Neither was the prosecutor, who took one look at the evidence and said, "This looks like a man who's been building a life around lies." Marcus pled not guilty. Didn't matter. They had him dead to rights. The jury took 1 day to decide. Guilty on all counts. At sentencing, Marcus finally looked at me. I don't know if he was hoping for mercy or trying to scare me. He looked smaller. Paler. Like the fight was gone from his bones. But I wasn't going to save him this time. The judge sentenced him to 14 years in prison, plus restitution. He had to pay back every cent he owed the loan company, which was already suing him on top of it. He also had to pay damages to Jenna for defamation and emotional distress, and Tiffany got her money back too. I was awarded over $275,000 in damages. Some of it for the identity theft, some for the fraudulent LLC filings in my name, and the rest for attempted financial abuse. But money wasn't the real win. The real win was peace. The house stayed in Jenna's name. We agreed to keep it that way. She offered to add me back to the deed, but I said no. I trust you more than I ever trusted him, I told her. She moved into the spare bedroom not long after that. We split groceries, take turns cooking, and take long walks in the evenings. It's not perfect, but it's peaceful. I started going back to church. Mrs. Hayward apologized in person, said she was sorry for believing the lies. Other neighbors followed. Turns out, once the truth came out, people saw Marcus for who he really was. A con man. A fraud. My son. The loan company. They dropped their lien. Issued an apology letter. Said it was the most thorough case of personal fraud they'd seen in years. They offered a settlement to avoid a lawsuit from me, and I took it. Another $80,000. I used part of it to fix up the kitchen. Got a new roof. Put the rest in a trust for Jenna. She doesn't know that part yet. She will. One day. Last I heard, Marcus got jumped in county jail before transfer. Nothing serious, broken rib and a few stitches. But it took the edge off his attitude. He stopped sending threats after that. The last thing he ever said to me, before court ended, was, "You're gonna die alone for this." I looked him in the eyes and said, "I raised you better than this. You chose your path. Now you can walk it." And then I walked out of that courtroom with my head held high. Sometimes, I still think about those days when he was little. When he used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. When he cried the day his hamster died. When he used to say, "You're the best mom in the world." I miss that boy. But I don't miss the man he became. The man who looked me in the face and said, "Do it, or I'll make you regret it." He thought fear would make me fold. He thought guilt would keep me quiet. He didn't know the woman who raised him was done being afraid. And now? Now he's sitting in a cold cell, wearing orange, surrounded by men who don't care what he used to be. And I'm here, drinking tea on my front porch, watching the wind move through the trees outside my house. My house. Exactly where it belongs.